Hola, bienvenidos a otra sesión de Satchel Classes. Soy Mr. Castrillon and I would like to welcome you to another session here on Satchel. Today's title is He jugado fútbol. This lesson is intended to key stage for students, so it's going to be challenging for many people who have not actually done the present perfect in Spanish. So hopefully by the end of today's lesson, you'll be able to understand and form some sentences that particularly are really challenging. So let's see our objectives for today. Hoy vamos a repasar verbos terminados en ar. Vamos a aprender la terminación usada en el participio perfecto. Vamos a aprender el presente perfecto y sus usos. Y finalmente vamos a traducir oraciones y practicar. But before we start our lesson, we need to do a little bit of pronunciation practice. So let's do that. Today's combination of letters is going to be CE. And this is an interesting one because depending on where you are, you'll hear the sound um, it will sound very differently. And this is because in Spain, the C E combination will sound th or the, whereas in South America and Latin America, it sounds more like se. So I'm going to do both sounds and I would like you to repeat after me. The first word is acerca or acerca. Acerca, acerca. Cepillo o cepillo. Cepillo, cepillo. Cerrado o cerrado. Cerrado, cerrado. Conocer o conocer. Conocer o conocer. Hacer o hacer. Hacer, hacer. So as you can see, the difference is very, very subtle, but it's important to keep in mind when you are actually going to speak to people in Spanish. Now I'm going to give you 60 seconds to try and work out the meaning of each one of those words. Off you go. Time is up. Let's see our answers. About, brush, closed, to know, to do. So be very familiar with these words because they will always happen to come on a test or on a speaking exam. Let's move on. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to match up these verbs. They're all in infinitive. So we have practicar, jugar, comprar, estudiar, visitar, mirar, hablar. As you can see, they all end in AR. I'm going to help you a little bit with these ones. Off you go. Time is up. Let's see the answers. Practicar, to practice. Jugar, to play. Comprar, to buy. Estudiar, to study. Visitar, to visit. Mirar, to see. Hablar, to speak. Very well done. Now we are going to use these verbs, these infinitives, to actually give some activities, and we are going to match these ones with the right phrase. By the way, these are all advice, so keep an eye on them. And once you get the right answers, take a picture of them with your phone or save the screen because they're going to be very handy at some point in your key stage for the studies. I'm going to start the time now. Off you go. Mash them up. And your time is up. Remember that if you didn't manage to do all of the sentences, the most important thing is that you actually managed to finish one or two sentences. This is all practice. And of course, some of the words that you are seeing today are not quite familiar or quite common. So it's important to just keep an eye on those and write them down and practice with them. Now, let's see the right answers. Practicar un deporte es bueno para la salud. Jugar al fútbol durante el descanso es saludable. Comprar libros en vez de dulces es lo mejor. Estudiar español es importante para tu futuro. Visitar lugares históricos es muy interesante. Mirar la tele con mucha frecuencia es dañino. Hablar con tus padres sobre tus problemas es muy útil. All of these are pieces of advice. And of course, if you write them down, you can include them in your writing or when you are talking to your teachers in Spanish. Now, the next task is really simple. We need to translate the sentences into English. Remember to do as many as you can and always take notes of those sentences that are new to you. Off you go. And your time is up. Let's see those answers. Here we are. So keep an eye on those. See every single one of the answers. And of course, keep an eye on the new words that you can learn from all of these different sentences. Notice that when we use the infinitive in Spanish, AR, in English, we tend to use ing when we start sentences with a verb. So that's a very important detail to keep an eye on because we do that difference in Spanish. Let's move on. Now, we are going to be talking about the present perfect tense in Spanish. So, how do we do this? Let's say we have this sentence I have practiced. And so, how do we say this in Spanish? Well, the first thing is I have, which is going to be e. Repeat after me. E. Don't confuse that with he in English because it might be a bit misleading. So, the pronunciation for that is going to be e. And practice is going to be practicado. So as you can see, I'm using the word or the verb for practicar with a different ending. That ending is what we call participle. So we have all of these verbs here: practicar, jugar, comprar, estudiar, visitar, mirar, hablar. So the first one, for instance, is practicado. So I'm going to give you just 1 minute to try and work out the other ones. Go for it. And our time is up. Let's see those answers. So remember that all we need to do is change the R for the O. Practicado, jugado, comprado, estudiado, visitado, mirado, hablado. So that's how we actually turn our infinitive into a participle ending. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to fill in each sentence with the right verb. Now I'm going to help you with the verbs here in the box. So all you need to do is change the ending and then complete or fill in each gap with the right verb. Off you go. And your time is up. Let's see the answers. He comprado un par de vaqueros por internet. He mirado los deportes por la tele. He estudiado matemáticas con mi hermana. He practicado fútbol toda la mañana. He jugado al fútbol toda la mañana. He hablado por teléfono. He visitado varios museos en Europa. How did that go? Very well done for all the ones that you got right. Now, all we are going to do is we are going to translate these sentences into Spanish. Off you go. How did that go? Time is up. Let's see those answers. Here we are. Now, take a picture of them if you want, or screenshot the all the translations and the original sentences, and feel free to come back and watch the video again. In the meantime, I want to wish you the very best. Muchos éxitos y hasta muy pronto.